Well, we better get started. We got a lot to get through today.
Yeah, let's do it.
We got a lot to talk. I know a lot about your interests, and you're an interesting guy.
I try to be.
Let's get right into it. Introduce yourself. Thanks for coming today. Introduce yourself, your name, your title, where you're working at.
So Brandon Stacy, RVP of newly founded Region 6. So that's pretty exciting. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
It's a brand new region. Which offices are you covering?
So Fargo is one of the branches. Obviously, that used to be in Region 5. And then I've got Columbia, Biloxi, and Albuquerque, which is also part of Region 5 that's moved to me now. 2 new hires, one for Biloxi and one for Albuquerque, so pretty excited about that.
All right, cool. And how long did you say how long you've been with the company?
I haven't. So my first day was March 1st, so about 4 months, maybe 5 months in August.
How's it going so far?
Man, I love it. It's at first it felt like I was information water hose, like big fire hose, just kind of contemplating what I got myself into. But there's a good group of guys, as you know, in operations, and Kristen as well, that have really, taken to helping me out, understand what's going on, understand what we're trying to do, what our place is as an RVP, how we kind of, help these branches coordinate things from corporate initiatives down to them. So all the people in operations really, even around VCG, have been just great with, making me feel at home, making me feel like I've always been there.
It's a great group of people. Isn't it?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I know it's cliche to say, but it really is like one of the best cultures I've seen in a workplace.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. I agree. I've been a part of lots of other organizations, and we got something special going on with a lot of special people. The people are what make it up. So, and that's a lot of credit to you too. I'm sure every single one of them would say what a pleasure it's been to work with you so far.
I hope so.
I know that some of those guys on your operations team, you spend all day long and you become pretty good friends and you razz each other. Would you like to take this opportunity to take any shots at anybody in the office?
I've took all my shots this morning at the people that were there. Okay. So I'll keep it casual, here.
Okay.
Keep it cordial.
I guess we should probably address that the president of business operations, Aaron Gustin, is unable to be here with us today.
Unfortunate, yeah.
He's normally in this esteemed seat.
Yeah. I was wondering, it probably will go better though, to be honest.
Oh, wow. There we go. Yeah. That's what we're looking for.
You got to start calling him Stone Cold Steve Gustin.
I like that. Is that what's going around the office room?
I'm trying to make it stick.
Okay.
So there's been a lot of kidney stone jokes thrown around.
Oh, okay.
So because it's all...
He had a kidney stone, but that's not why he's not here right now.
That isn't.
He's traveling with his cousin Virgil right now. He's been on vacation in Raleigh.
Oh.
Yeah, and he's writing us every week. I've got the letter that I just got. I haven't even opened it up yet. I'm serious. Look.
All right. Oh wow, you're being serious.
Yeah, he's written us a letter every week while he's been traveling with.
What a guy.
His cousin, and he says that I can read these on here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
This is cousin Virgil now that he's visiting.
He rode down there on a bus with his cousin Virgil.
It's very unique.
It's a long trip.
Yeah. What is that, like 10 hours?
I don't even know. A bus ride to Raleigh. You're looking at least 6 to 8, maybe 10.
Driving 6, I think. So
right. Well, here's what he says this week. He's always got something interesting to tell us. This one says, "Dear hay seeds, ha ha." He's in the big city, and we're back up here in Barbersville.
Small folk.
Yeah. It says, "Still in Raleigh, and we have taken the bus to see all the sights. Good news. Got the corner room at the Y." Then in parentheses, it says, "At first they put me and Virgil down by the swimming pool, and the swim team tracked water through the hall." "Yesterday evening, I put on my Hawaiian shirt, got a haircut and a shoe shine, hung around the lobby of the Y and watched some ping pong games, and then had supper at the coffee shop. Cousin Verge and I both had the special. Cousin Verge and I both had the special Vienna sausages with tomato sauce.
Sounds disgusting.
Then we stayed at the Y and took in one of their shows, either a movie or a lecture on. Then we stayed at the Y and took in one of their shows, either a movie or a lecture on sportsmanship and cleanliness.
Checks out.
Yeah. Finally, I had a tapioca and a hot chocolate. That sounds good.
Yeah, I would love that right now over this coffee.
Finally, I had a tapioca and a hot chocolate. By then, it was time for bed. Big day tomorrow. Excuse me. Virgil and I are renting a car and driving into the Smoky Mountains. We expect to see turkeys and black bears. Let me tell you, if a bear comes up to our car, you can believe old Aaron will throw him a fried bologna and snap a Polaroid. Ha ha. Have to close now. The tapioca lays heavy on my chest. Give my best to everyone at Barbersville and tell them I'll see them in the funnies. Ha ha. Aaron.
Man,
God, he is up to everything down there, you know?
It's a beautiful letter.
I think it's nice he's taking the time to stop and write us.
Yeah. I mean...
And he got a better room at the Y. He started off down there.
Right.
Like the envelope said room 103 the first time.
Getting splashed on.
But now look at the return address. It's changed.
204.
Room 204. He got that corner room.
Moving on up.
Well, good for him.
He needs a break in life.
I know. And now he's headed into the Smokies tomorrow.
Yep.
I can't wait to hear how that goes.
Yeah, it'd be, I'm sure, beautiful sights.
Well, okay. So RVP, brand new Region 6. You listed the offices there. For the folks that don't know, tell us what that means exactly. Your job duties, your day-to-day, what do you spend most of your time doing, et cetera?
Yeah, so basically what I'm trying to do is just help the different locations with different initiatives that we have at corporate here. So it could be anything from like getting Google reviews, marketing events, different things that, here recently with Fargo, for example, Deidre is doing some different events and marketing things. And so I've tried to offer some tips that I, see from just an outside perspective without having been there. Mm-hmm. But, I think overall, our job is just basically helping them not feel so isolated and alone, and making them feel the village caregiving that, you feel every day, I feel every day. So really what I try to do is whether it's a huddle, whether it's just shooting a text message out, when reports come out at the end of the month, just trying to let them know, when they do a good job, hey, you're doing great. If they need anything, always being there for them, always showing support.
And that's, if you hear me talk about that all the time, I worry about it a lot. How do we make them feel connected to the company because we're so spread out? In your region in particular,
right?
A lot of your colleagues there in the ops department, they may have the state of Ohio, the state of Kentucky and Tennessee.
Sure, yeah.
You are just kind of all over the place. So you have an extra challenging job of making people of totally disparate locations feel connected back to Barbersville, West Virginia. How are you doing that?
Yeah, so what I've been trying to do, so we'll use Jayla as an example. She's going to start July 29th at
She's in Albuquerque?
Albuquerque office, correct. So what I've been trying to do, is just reach out every other day through text and just make her feel like that's the type of, camaraderie you can come to expect when you work here, is that you're not alone. Whether you're in Albuquerque, you can at least somehow feel like you're, at the corporate office, or at least have, a text message or a call away from being at, the main home office there. Yeah. I think another thing too is just, really keep reiterating about our role as supportive, reiterating the things that we are trying to do. I don't want to be seen as this overbearing, boss that, you can't come to with a mistake, or you can't come to with an idea because you don't know how to react. Trying to break those walls of that. It's just it's open dialogue always, And so at least for me, being new to the role, that's what I'm trying to establish right away with the new people that come in, so they feel the same thing I've felt, with the company in the past 4 months.
Yeah, I'm with you. I actually really, really want the directors out there, the nurses, everybody, I want people to challenge me, challenge my leadership, give constructive feedback, try to suggest improvements, things we could do differently. If the day that we stop being open to that kind of stuff, we're dead. You know what I mean? Like, I can tell that's important to you.
For sure. Then you just become a number,
Yeah, right.
And it's now I'm employee 687 instead of, Brandon Stacy.
Yeah, they should always feel really free. And if you're listening to this in an office, you got to bring the truth forward, bring concerns forward, all that stuff. Now, we might not agree on it. I'm not going to make a promise right now that we are going to see exactly eye to eye, but we're going to talk through it and try to come to some resolution that makes us both happy, if we can. Right?
Correct. But you're at least establishing that dialogue right away that, that's an option here.
Yeah,
And
I'll take it a step farther than that. I think, honestly, honest communication is so important to not only, we have an important purpose. We're trying to take care of seniors in their homes. It's really important stuff.
Right.
Run a business, have good operations, be efficient, do all the things right. Honest communication, both directions, is so important. They have a responsibility to challenge us in that way, and I encourage them to do that, and they should,
For sure, and it helps us grow and be better, and, especially for you in your role, you want to hear that constructive criticism and see what you can do better, help us be better, and then help them be better. I think it's a flowing, a flowing cycle like that.
Yeah, in our last executive team meeting, do you remember I said I ended it with, or maybe it was the last part of my executive report was, I would like to also remind everybody, encourage you, I want feedback. If it's uncomfortable, make it anonymous and send it through HR. But I need that stuff.
Yeah.
And I got some.
Did you?
And some of it, just to be transparent. It's tough to hear sometimes.
Right.
And that's okay though. Once you process it, and it can hurt your feelings a little bit, you're just so much better off. Like, that lasts like an hour.
Right.
And then you're okay, and then you're better for the rest of your life because of it. You've got to seek that. That's why people don't want feedback very often, though, because it's hurtful.
Sure, yeah.
Even if it's mostly good, it's still your brain will pick out the one little nugget that kind of struck you funny, and that'll be the part that stays in there.
Yep.
So people don't want that very much, but the people that don't get that feedback should really, in my opinion, be jealous of people that do, because they're just going to get ahead. They're just going to keep getting better. How else? Why would you think you're going to get any better at anything if you're not collecting feedback on what you're doing? You're by definition going to stay in the same plane.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, you look at anything else you do outside of business. I mean, you're always getting some sort of evaluation, and whatever you do with that is what makes you a better person.
Yeah.
But I mean, you need those evaluations, those checks and balances to kind of, like you said, keep growing as a person, because it's pretty easy to just get, okay, well, I've already got here, so now I'm done. It takes a special person to be able to get to like the top and then and stay on the top,
Yep. I know, and you've got to really encourage it to come up the chain too.
Yeah.
Easy to get feedback from your boss. They want to give plenty of feedback all the time.
Sure, yeah.
But you got to encourage it from the people that might be a little bit intimidated to give it to you, or fear that you're going to take it the wrong way. That you just got to encourage that stuff. So I appreciate your answer on that, and really, really trying to form the relationship with them that way. I think that's important. Let's talk about you a little bit.
All right,
you're a really interesting guy. Let's start with, we share a love for a lot of the same music.
We do.
Give us the rundown. What are you into?
Yeah.
All-time faves?
So obviously, that fluctuates, but I have like a 3 core artists that 1 to 3 doesn't really matter.
Okay.
So
number
David,
1 today could be number 3 tomorrow.
Sure, exactly. But that doesn't mean that 3 is bad. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just the mood. So
this is the almost Mount Rushmore of Brandon Stacy's music.
I could put 4 in there if you want me to.
Yeah, just leave it at 3. If it's 3, it's 3.
We'll do it 3. So obviously David Bowie. I've got a David Bowie tattoo. Bob Dylan, and then the Smiths.
The Smiths, wow. Yeah. That one is not going to pop up in that many people's almost Mount Rushmore.
There's some people right now probably calling me a crybaby for listening to the Smiths, but
you got to take a lot of grief for being a Smiths fan. Why? Because they don't like Morrissey and
Morrissey rubs people the wrong way. You know, he's not really hey, I do this stuff to make people like me type of guy. Yeah. He likes to push buttons.
Yeah, he does. He has probably the most arrogant stage presence may have ever seen.
So I saw him about 6 years ago, and right when the show started, he played on a back screen of cows being like mutilated and pigs. The whole show. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it was the craziest thing. Why? It's Morrissey. Why not?
Just to aggravate you.
Just to aggravate people, to make people mad. I mean, people were leaving and stuff. A lot of people still stayed because Paul McCartney of the Beatles was next, but I was there to see Morrissey.
But mutilating cows and pigs,
like how they make beef and stuff, like what they do to him. He was showing all of that. I guess
this a way to protest?
I think it was a way to say like, "Hey, meat is bad for you," but you could have done it in other subtle ways. You know, could have just said, "Hey, don't eat meat." Hey, eat more vegetables. You don't have to show that type of stuff, and especially in like a festival setting. So like obviously, you know, people are probably on this and on that, and they go to think, oh, like he'll do some good music and it'll be nice. Immediately get there, and it's just a nightmare now.
That's Morrissey.
That's Morrissey, though. Yeah,
right. He's going after both the side that really doesn't like factory farming and the process and and pissing them off. But while I'm at it, I'm just going to really offend your senses to all the people that are like, you know, in PETA side world that want to protect animals. He's going to go after everybody and make this a complete dumpster fire. Yeah,
he's going to he's going to have everybody against him there and then against each other somehow.
Is it just like a performance art? Like he's trying to evoke emotion in any way that stirs it?
I would say he probably was never fun at parties and realized that. And then he's like, you know, I'm actually kind of good at being just, you know, an a-hole to people and getting on people's nerves. So let me just keep doing that. And I can also sing really well. So
never fun at parties. Yeah, still ain't.
Still not.
Not that one.
Not fun at festivals either.
Okay.
It was a great show that like he killed it. I stayed, you know, because obviously you only get to see Morrissey once. So.
Show that Bowie tattoo off for the camera.
Where's it at here? Yeah.
Is that's the cover from Aladdin Sane?
No.
No, it's not. That's the one with the lightning bolt.
Yeah, so it's from a poster of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. They never like made the movie, but it was like a poster for if they made a movie.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, a woman in Martin County, Kentucky, Katie O'Connor's. Shout out to her. Did that. That was our first portrait too. Pretty solid.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? I got a gift for you today.
I love gifts. I didn't bring you anything, but
thanks a lot.
My presence is a present, I guess you could say.
That is the gift. You're right, actually. I was in a record shop not long ago.
Okay.
In London. And there's this, I'm going to give a shout out too, because this is one of the best record shops probably on earth. I mean, this guy named Roger who runs it, it's right around the corner. You look it up on Google Maps from Abbey Road Studios.
Okay.
It's called St. John's Wood Collectibles. And he's got some obscure stuff, some crazy Beatles memorabilia, and all kinds of other stuff too. So I was in there, and I've been in. Every time I get a chance to go to London, I will go to this guy's shop, and I love this guy. So I bought some records, and he said, and I saw this extra picture there, and I said, oh, that's really, really cool. I know a guy that would love that. And he said, I'd like for you to have it as a gift. Give it to your friend. And here it is. It's for you.
Did he have a bad British accent like that? Oh, man.
Yeah? Bowie.
Oh, that's sick. Y'all show it to the camera here.
Sure.
Look at that.
That's for your office.
That's awesome, man. Thank you. Now I feel bad I didn't get you anything.
That's all right. Next time.
Next time.
Yeah. You probably have given me something sometimes. Thanks to Roger, too, at St. John's Wood Collectibles. Go check it out.
Did he draw that, or did somebody draw that and leave it there? Or?
I don't know. He didn't give me the story.
Didn't give you a background? Huh.
But it's, I'm guessing, unique, like every single other thing he has in the store.
What records did you get?
Oh, I got a original with like all the stuff in there, mint condition Sgt. Pepper.
It's a good one.
It was crazy good.
Yeah.
I've gotten a first pressing of L.A. Woman by the Doors, original Hard Day's Night, some Pink Floyd stuff. I got Aladdin Sane. He had that original first press too.
Wow.
And then
Was it like reasonable priced, or is it kind of like upper? Do you like raise the prices on it? Some of that stuff gets a little bit out of hand.
yeah, it can get crazy.
Yeah.
But he's not charging like 500 pounds or anything
Right.
like that. I mean,
Yeah.
like the Bowie album might have been 50, 60 pounds. I mean, it's pricey, but
Yeah.
it's not
What's
insane.
what's the conversion rate
Given
on that?
how rare it is, it's basically the same as a buck. I mean,
Okay.
but there's a little bit more, so maybe like $75
Yeah,
maybe.
so not bad then.
For something that rare, right?
For first pressing, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, this is awesome.
Yeah.
It kind of.
Then he tells me a story. I don't know if this is suitable for air or not, but I won't get all into it. But so one of the records I bought was the first pressing of Jimi Hendrix, Electric Ladyland. If you know what that album cover looks like, front and back, he points to one of the ladies on there and he said, "This one here was my girlfriend." I was like, you're joking around, right? And he's like, "No." He couldn't believe I didn't believe. He's like, "I was a very handsome lad in my younger days." I was like, "Roger." But that's a pretty cool story, isn't it?
That is cool. I'm assuming ex-girlfriend now, since she was.
I assume. But I'm not joking. He is the sweetest guy, and he has a connection with vinyl records, like how some people might with animals or whatever. Like it's like his spirit loves this stuff.
Like he's like a vinyl whisperer.
Yeah,
Like you just spin it on his finger and it'll magically play.
I would believe it. I would believe it. He had an original copy of the White Album, our first press, super rare, had all the stuff, perfect condition. And one day, to display it, he put it up in his window. He's telling me this story. And there's a flat above there, and the guys that lived in it flooded their apartment, and water comes down the front of the window, and it ruins this really rare original White Album. It was one of his like prized possessions.
Yeah.
And it truly like broke his heart.
Yeah.
And so for a month or two, he took it out of the window, of course, and it was just ruined.
Yeah.
And he sat it on this shelf. If you walk into his shop, it's like the size of a closet. It's really small. But he has a desk there, and there's a little few shelves where this was sitting. And he had the White Album there where he could still look at it. And he told me, he said, "But after a month or two, I couldn't look at it anymore. It broke my heart. It made me physically sick to look at the album, and I had to give it away. It made me ill because I loved it so much." True. Like he just couldn't take it anymore. He just had to give it to a friend.
Jeez.
I know, heartbreaking story for this guy. Like if you hear him tell it, it sounds kind of like I'm joking.
Yeah.
It's not funny to him.
Well, the accent too kind of makes it tough to.
I'm not.
You're
that
doing
good
okay.
at
You're doing
accents,
okay though.
sorry.
Yeah. No, it's all right.
Okay. Anyways,
So
love you, Roger. I really do.
Can I ask you who are your three favorite I mean, it doesn't have to be all time. It could be just like at this moment.
Man, three. I'm gonna. This is you're asking me some good questions here. So, back in that era, I'm really probably the biggest on the Beatles, the Kinks, the Doors. Nowadays, it's honestly this is. But you're not gonna get this answer very often. I have two favorites right now: Sturgill Simpson and Lady Gaga. I think that those two artists have transcended music and actually just make art in a different way than anyone else today. They're not the most popular right now. By any means.
You're the only person right now that said those two is their favorite right now.
Well,
those are, I mean,
I'm
great.
standing by it.
Yeah, they're great. You know, without David Bowie, there would be no Gaga. So,
dude, that new Lady Gaga just put out her video of Chromatica Ball on HBO Max. It's just a tour video of her performance in Dodger Stadium in L.A. It to me is so good. She basically walked out there. If you don't like Lady Gaga or don't ever listen to it, I get it, but this is just my take. And basically for about an hour and 20 minutes or however long it lasted, just went ahead and said, just in case anybody was still wondering, who is the best dancer, vocalist, artist, poet, choreographer, piano player, all the stuff. It's me on all of them. Mic drop. See ya.
Yeah.
Songwriter.
I'll have to check that out.
If you don't care about the dancing, which I don't know that much about, right?
Right.
But here's the analogy of this. My son's daughter, Brooke, is on the dance team at Marshall.
Okay.
Honestly, I didn't grow up around any kind of like dance, know anything about it. My wife did, so she knows this is really difficult, right?
Right, yeah.
I'm like, it's dancing. How hard is this really, right?
Sure.
So they're in the living room one day, and they're doing, some of their dance numbers. And I got up there, I was like, all right, let me see if I can do this. Dude, it was so humiliatingly awful. And this was like their basic routine. I looked like an idiot, and I was like, this is like really, really, really hard.
Yeah.
To think that Gaga, forget the piano playing or her connection with the crowd, the singing. I don't even know how you could dance like she does that long and still even produce vocals that sound even halfway decent. But to remember even that much choreography for an hour and a half,
Right.
it's insane.
It's
so
impressive.
if you go and watch that, like keep that in mind. There's a lot going on, and there's a million other dancers coming on and off that have their part of it. She's the only one that's got to know every step of everything the whole time.
Sure, yeah.
It's really wild to me. And then there's a part in the middle before Born This Way where she's talking to the crowd and about social issues that to me like transcend. She's like the spokesperson for a people of a generation.
Yeah.
That's not even about music. It blew my mind. I think it's awesome.
That's awesome. You said it's on Max?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out then.
All right. Well, how about sports? I know you coach not only in business but in soccer. Also, you're a soccer coach.
Correct. Yep.
How do those two things go together? Speaking of coaching.
Yeah. So it's a lot of man management, people management. It's a lot of understanding tendencies of people and what makes them go and what shuts them down. Mm-hmm. Like there's, some kids on my team that I can't yell at or I can't get too hard on, or they'll get, they'll just shut down and get hard on themselves.
Yeah.
And there's some kids where literally I could be Bobby Knight out there.
Yeah.
And they're going to run through that wall. You know what I mean? So I think how it translates together is just understanding that of, I try to be, really understand my players from not just like a playing standpoint, but like life. And I think I've, especially with these two new people coming on, I've tried to get to know them as a person more to help me understand how, what makes them tick, what's going to motivate them, what's not going to motivate them, what are they looking for in life. And just to show that, like, I'm not, again, you want to try to balance between being, an overbearing boss and somebody that they can come to when they have a problem and feel comfortable with doing that.
Yeah.
And so I've tried to do that with soccer. I've had a travel team now since probably 8-9 years now. It's kind of sad because they'll be graduating next year, half of them.
Oh man, yeah, that's
so
tough.
I try not to think about it. A bunch of them are seniors, so yeah, it's tough because you watch these kids grow from 11 years old, right? And now they're like driving, they're getting jobs, they'll be going to college, they'll be in the workforce. So
yeah,
really, as a young man, I think the most important thing you can be to somebody or have is a mentor, right? So like I've tried to be that for them, be somebody that they can look up to and say, all because of Brandon, like this is how I feel, or like I'm able to overcome this because of that.
Yeah.
So I've tried to just instill, I'm very demanding, you know what I mean? I demand perfection because I think that it's important to live by things that, of wanting to be the best. There's nothing wrong with that at all. There's nothing wrong with, if you and I are in a race wanting to beat you. I think a lot of the times kids get lost in the fact of, well, I don't care who wins, or, I don't want to work as hard. And so trying to just instill those values into them, even at, 16, 17 is tough because obviously, they've got girlfriends now, some of them believe their own hype at times,
Yeah.
but trying to just balance that out for them and help them grow into young men. And hopefully, in 5 years, they'll be, great members in the community and I can look back and say, man, I was a privileged coaching them, or they go and do something great, and you hope that the things that you instilled into them inspired them to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, it's almost like when they graduate, you're graduating one of your own kids in a certain sense. That's pretty special.
I mean, there's some of them that I've known since literally they were 7 years old.
Wow.
And here we are now.
Wow.
They're going to be seniors. Yeah.
Speaking, when you say that it's okay to be competitive, it's okay to want to win. Do you find that teenagers today, and how old are you?
I'm 30.
30. Okay. So compared to when you were a kid, do you find that today's teenagers are just in general less competitive, or is that not a thing?
I think it's like that competitive drive is in there. I think they're just so easy to just move on to the next thing, to where it doesn't bother them to want to be great at something. At least just from the small group that I've been around, and in the small group that I've just seen of like coaching or doing soccer lessons, is that it's not so much it's not like they're not competitive. They're competitive, but it's like competitive to an extent to where, okay, once I get to here and I can't win, I'm just going to move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do the next thing.
Yeah, that's not the course to developing mastery of really anything.
Exactly.
Well, what do you think it takes to achieve that then? I mean, what does make a person great at the thing?
Yeah, so I think it's, I won't mention his name, but there's a soccer player that I have that he made the U.S. men's team for his age group, right? And he has this something about him where it's like, okay, he has a routine, right? Every morning I get up at this time, I do these things, right? And once I do those things, then I get to, go and hang out with friends. After I hang out with friends, I got to do these things before I can, play games at night. He's always texting me, asking me to give him soccer lessons, or asking him to show him some drills he can do to improve this. And I think it's twofold with what I see in him. It's that drive to stick to a structure, to keep him, structured on his goal. But then it's also like, once I get to that goal that I've reached, understanding what I need to do next to get to that next step.
Yep.
And I think a lot of kids, they have the drive, they just don't have the structure to stick with it. And so a lot of these kids can probably achieve that goal, but they fall short because of just the structure, not having that structure.
And the word we're looking for is discipline.
Right.
That's exactly what it is. You just have to have enough discipline to stay the course.
Yep.
It's not going to be fun every day.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That can't be the day that you be like, that's just, but that goes for so much stuff in life. And it's not the only thing. There's a lot of things that go into being successful, whether it's an athlete or a career or whatever. But you've got to have enough discipline in there, along with humility, which allows you to continue to want to learn and get better all the time. And, Tiger Woods changes his whole game at one point, right? When he's already won the Masters and done incredible things, but he knew that wasn't the version that was going to get him to where he wanted to be.
Exactly.
So you got to be willing to adapt and want to get better.
Yep.
But, man, you just got to have discipline. And if, we talk about this with our kids sometimes, the reason that your room is an absolute mess because you don't have enough discipline to put things back when you're done with it every time you use it is the same lack of discipline that will keep you from achieving something in your career. It's all kind of the same nugget in your brain a little bit.
Absolutely. That's something I always tell them is that, people are going to yell at you. Your boss is going to yell at you. Your boss is going to demand something and you're not going to be able to do it, or you're going to be late on something. It's how you overcome that and that next step and to be better so that doesn't happen again. Having the discipline to realize you made a mistake and work towards being better. I mean, it all applies to life. You know what I mean? That's why I think sports is such a great, not just sports, but at least in my background, sports is such a great thing when it comes to learning little nuggets, like you're saying, of discipline, of, having aspirations, setting goals, achieving goals, working towards goals, those type of things.
Yeah. Do you have one thing right now that you're kind of working on yourself to continue to develop and grow professionally?
Yeah. So, one thing I'll talk about in two different aspects, one on the business side and one from just a coaching side. So, on the coaching side, I've tried to become less worried about wins and losses, and not let those affect me, and worry more about player development and player growth and not just player growth on the field, but making sure, holding them accountable for having good grades, holding them accountable for doing something in the community, whether it's 4 hours, 3 hours, whether it's, going out and just giving their grandma a call or giving their mom and dad, help around the house. And then when it comes to like the business side of things, I've really tried to look at a couple of different people above me around the organization and see like, okay, what are like, pick up on some tendencies that I see them doing in meetings, whether it's the way they speak to people, whether it's the way they word things in the executive report, and trying to pick up on, okay, they're in the role they are, and trying to pick up those little tendencies that help them get to that role. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and so, and it's just something small, but I think...
Do you care to share any of those? Just an example? Or
I don't want to mention names.
Okay.
To make people feel like I'm watching them.
Well, it was a positive thing.
Yeah,
I thought it's complimentary, but I understand. Okay.
It is. Okay, so I'll mention Aaron. So Aaron is great at receiving a problem and having the exact type of response for that problem, to where it's not too high and it's not too low. It's just the right response. And I think that I at least have struggled at times with giving the correct response when I'm dealt with a problem. And so just listening to how he approaches it and the wording he uses and the verbiage he gives people to make them feel like actually it's not a problem, it's an opportunity. So there was a recent thing that had come up that pertained to one of the newer employees, and I just went with him with the problem. It's like, hey, I'm thinking about saying this. What do you think? And he's like, try to word it like this. This is how I would try to say it. Here's how I would approach it. And so he's just given that guidance of, always taking it as an opportunity to, negate an issue that could potentially come up down the road.
Yeah, you know what he's really good at is he's a really great coach in like the literal sense of that word, because what he doesn't really ever do, like he'll give you guidance like that when you ask for it or when you observe it, right? But he's not trying to make you like him. He's
Correct.
trying to make you the best you.
Exactly.
And he asks questions a lot of times. So he will say things, and I've learned a lot from him in this way. He will say things like, well, what do you see as your options here?
Yep.
What do you want out of this situation? Like, and force you to actually, the answer's already in there. And he's really good at getting you to elucidate that for yourself instead of just giving you the answer.
For sure, yeah. And that's what I was trying to get at, is he's able to not put his thumb on you and say, this is how it's done. It's your words, right? It's your words that you're thinking of. He's just helping you and guiding you to that realization of, this is how you would say it. You just need to say it like this.
Yeah, right. Well, so your brother, Chandler, works at the company.
Correct.
We were talking about this a little bit before we got started. I just wanted to ask you here on the air, are you the better Stacy brother at Village Caregiving?
I think for the record, yes, there is. I was the first.
You're the oldest of three brothers.
I'm the oldest of three brothers. It goes without saying that Chandler acts a lot like me, dresses a lot like me, tries to be me. Right.
How's he doing at all that?
I mean, he's, somebody called him Brandon the other day. I think I heard him say, yeah.
Wow.
But no, yeah. I mean, I think it just, since we're on the record, it goes without stating that I'm the best brother.
It's a hard yes.
A hard yes.
Yeah, I understand.
An absolute yes.
Your brother that's in between you guys, Trevor?
Yep, Trevor.
What's he do for a living?
So he is a robotics engineering teacher at Spring Valley.
Wow.
Yeah.
Robotics engineering. He must be a bright guy.
He's a pretty bright guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all three of you are. And good guys, too. We're busting on Chan, but...
No, Chandler's great.
We love him. Okay, well, we're coming up kind of on time here. Anything else you want to talk about that we haven't got to yet? I want it real quick.
Yeah.
And I'm really awesome at asking a question like that and then just going ahead and talking about something else. It's a trademark.
It's all right, yeah.
I do want to come back to that, though, before, like, with some final words of wisdom or whatever. But I want to talk a little bit more about your new region in Region 6 and the offices you mentioned. talk a little bit more about your vision for that, what you're most excited about opening a brand new region, the responsibility that comes with that, any stresses that come with that. In the operations room, do you guys get competitive, like my region's doing better on the RJ report than yours, or does stuff like that happen?
I think there is a lot of that. So I think to just answer that, I'm excited for that, right? I haven't had that yet where like something's been brought up and then, Chris jumps in or Kristen jumps in or Tony jumps in and kind of, rags on each other for, one thing or another.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that aspect, just like the camaraderie that's going to bring with a new region.
Right.
I'm excited for really like to be able to go out and travel to those places and actually see in those locations, and see their day to day. I'm really excited for that, kind of sit with them and, see what their day to day is going to be like, see how their office is, see what kind of people, they're dealing with coming in and out, phone calls, getting to know them after hours on that aspect as well. I think as far as what I would like to see the region grow, I mean, man, I would love like 20 offices in, a year and a half, like, or even more. Why stop there?
Yeah.
I would, because obviously then that means that we're continuing to grow. I'm being trusted with more offices, more responsibility. So I'd like to see, 4 go to 20.
Well,
So.
you ran Pittsburgh there for quite a while.
Yeah, 2 months, fourth day working at Village Caregiving.
Took the phone, scheduled the
phone.
shifts, did the payroll,
I
did
could
the
barely
care
spell
sheets, the whole nine.
Could barely spell VA, and then I get the office. So
Wow. Well, you did a great job. I bet
Yeah.
that was, I mean, is there any other way to learn it better than that? We could teach you for a year and it wouldn't have been as good as 4 weeks of that.
All the 4 years I took of business school never prepared me for how I would deal with Pittsburgh.
Huh.
But some great learning experiences there that actually a couple of things have come up here with Deidre that I've shared. Just some experiences, even with Adria, that when she had Albuquerque,
Yeah.
she was asking a question, and I had a similar issue that happened in Pittsburgh, so I was able to help her on that. So that felt good, because like you said, I mean, it felt at first like, what are they thinking, giving me this phone? And then after 2 weeks, it's like, I feel like I'm right there, like in the mud, just grinding it out, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, it was fun.
You've got, 4 offices?
Yep.
And you've mentioned Deidre, you mentioned Jayla.
Yep.
Give some shout outs to your other
Oh yeah, so
staff.
so we've got Beth that's coming along in Columbia, super experienced in the field, so she'll bring that. I just spoke with her, I think it was Monday, and super excited. Spoke on the phone with her. She was elated about that, and then sent me a text after, just thanking again for the opportunity.
Yeah.
And so like when I see that, like, that makes me excited because I know that person is just going to do a great job. She's going to want to do a great job.
Yeah.
She's not like, oh, dang, I can't believe I have to start working in 2 weeks. It's like, I'm ready to go now. Let's get it going. So
I know, and you know what'll happen? That's a brand new location, right?
Columbia, yes.
So those first weeks, sometimes months, can be pretty slow.
Right.
And that's even a concern, because you hire someone and they end up sitting there as the office is launching like, I don't have anything to do.
Correct, yeah.
And you kind of like, oh, you just wait.
Yeah, just
you'll
hold
have
on.
plenty to do. Right. And then your 4th office.
4th office is Biloxi.
Okay, we haven't hired a director there
right,
yet.
yeah. I think there's some final candidates out there. I know one of them was they interviewed them while I was out on vacation, so I didn't really get the chance to meet him.
By the time that this actually goes on Spotify and YouTube, they probably will have started.
Yeah.
Or close to it. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, now, anything you've come across lately? Any interesting, odd facts known by few, interesting news story that you think is worthy of sharing to educate us?
I mean, I would like to know your opinion on Drake versus Kendrick. What team were you on?
Wow. That's they weren't on my Mount Rushmore.
Right.
But this is a very uneducated opinion, man. Not that I've got some Drake and Kendrick Lamar on my phone, but I don't know enough to give a good one. I'm going to go Kendrick.
That's the only answer. So.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm not even going to say more, but that is my answer. Hope that was all right.
Can I ask another question?
Well, he won a Pulitzer.
He did win a Pulitzer.
I mean, you can't deny the art of Kendrick Lamar.
They don't just give those away.
No.
So
The first time I heard that was for Damn, right?
yeah.
That I heard that record, that first opening
Right.
piece.
It was that To Pimp a Butterfly.
I think
Was that To Pimp a Butterfly?
I don't know. We'll fact check this.
I think it was Pimp a Butterfly now that I think about it.
Oh, well.
Regardless, they're both great albums, but
Okay.
go on.
Well, so the first time I'm listening to that opening track on Damn where he's talking, and then it's like, you've lost your life. Pow! Like how fast that like listen goes right into the next track. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Just like the emotion that it elicits. I mean, it's great. But so I guess I'll go Kendrick. Okay. Was there just a war between the two? You got to take a side.
I mean,
It's like Democrat, Republican. Pick
it,
one.
It damn near was like that.
You can't be in the middle anymore on stuff. Okay.
For almost a month, it was all the internet was talking about.
I'm not real big on social media, man. Sorry. I don't follow along enough to.
It's all right.
I'm old.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but I stay as cool as I can get. Hanging around, cool people like you helps.
Right. Yeah.
Now I know something I didn't know before, see?
When you see Chandler tomorrow, ask him his opinion on it.
Oh, I'm sure he's got plenty.
Yeah. You just make sure you carve out half your day for that.
Okay. Anything else besides the Drake-Kendrick feud? Any words? Okay.
Oh, I was going to ask you one more question. That was fine.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So since Aaron's not here, somebody's got to interview you.
Okay. Yep.
You just got back from a trip.
Yep.
Yep.
Part of where the London Roger record shop is.
Of all the European countries you've been into, which one's been your favorite?
Well, so many places. I like Croatia the best, and that isn't just because it's a weird answer. It's beautiful. It's sort of like the hidden gem of the whole Mediterranean. Basically, it's the same Adriatic Sea as Italy.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to go to Italy, but you don't ever hear people talk about, I like to go visit Croatia. I think it is becoming a little bit more popular, but it's beautiful, the Dalmatian coast, and the people are what make it awesome.
Right.
They are, I feel at home there, honestly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're just, and I've made friends there, and I go back, and I can't wait to see them again. I miss them.
Really? Wow.
I'd write them on WhatsApp and stuff and kind of stay in touch, but I love going back. And they're just such good, kind, appreciative people. And not that long ago, went through some wars and really tough times that still make them have like genuine appreciation for everything they have.
Wow.
They're beautiful people. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep. That's my answer. Croatia.
It's a perfect
You ever
answer.
been?
I've never been. I would love to go though.
Okay.
Bunch of good soccer players from Croatia.
Man, I know. Well, when I went there, I tried to time this up to go while the Euro Cup was happening. They had a heartbreaking loss in pool play to not advance to the round of 16. Literally the last touch on the ball was a goal that knocked them out in the 96th minute.
Yeah, I think against Italy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that happened to them in the previous game against Albania. They were up 2-1.
Yep.
They had 2 minutes of stoppage time, or maybe I might be getting that wrong, 5, whatever the thing is, and they scored in the last 30 seconds of that game.
Yeah, I had them going to the final too on a bet, so that hurt.
They've just kind of got old, man. Modric is.
Yep.
But they'll rebuild. Those are my boys.
They'll be fine. Yeah, there's a generation coming up of Croats that. Is that what they are? Are they Croats or Croats?
I've got an Ivan Rakitic jersey. You remember him?
Oh yeah.
Okay. That's legit. That means I'm not making it up. He's retired now.
You're a real one then.
That's right. Okay. Any words of wisdom you'd like to leave us with today?
I think everything I've said has spoken for itself.
It's all wisdom.
It's all. People are going to listen to this and their whole life's going to be changed, I think.
Mount Rushmore music, almost 3/4 of it.
Yep.
Dylan, is he the greatest songwriter ever? Yes or no?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. You're obviously the better Stacy brother at Village Caregiving.
I'll have the
Team
best,
Kendrick.
I'll have the best region eventually.
And yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Good competitive dude. Seriously, thank you for doing this. It's been fun.
No, thanks. I've had a blast. I was super nervous coming on. So hopefully that doesn't show in the film.
No, you never know. You should come back. We'll do this again.
Yeah,
there's
anytime.
a lot more we could talk about.
Any time you want to bring me on for anything. I'm ready.
Thanks, brother.
All right,
Cheers.
thanks. Yep.
This is for good luck. There you go. Just leave it in. And cut.